This is assignment 7, which is MFRS123 borrowing cost. So this question stated in this paper. So for the question, they said that the Classic won the contract to build a smart tunnel that will ease traffic congestion in the city. The cost of the project was estimated to be 950 million and is to be completed in 2 years. So for the 1 January 2016, so this is the amount the entity borrowed from the resources for the construction. So they got 3, which is bank term loan, second corporate bonds, and third is institutional borrowing, which the rate is 8, 10 and 9%, and this is the cost they borrowed, which is 400 million, 300 million and for 300 million. During the year, Classic, they only utilized 80% of the allocated funds and invested the remaining amount. So they got 80% for utilized and 20% they invested. And they earned an income which is 10 million. So from this question, said the total of borrowing amount which is 1,000 million. But the question state the cost of project was estimate 950 million. So which amount that we need to take? So we should take this amount which is 1,000 million because this is the actual amount that we know. If we want to borrow something, we know that the actual amount. But this is estimate. We don't take estimate for the borrowing, so we ignore this and we take this 1,000 million. So the first question asks calculate the capitalization rate. So this is calculation before we doing the capitalization rate. So for the question, Classic only utilize 80% of the allocated fund. So we do the total interest for the bank term 8%. Multiple which 400 we got 32 million. For the corporate bonds 10%, multiple which 300 million we got 30. For institutional borrowing 9%, multiple which 300 million we got 27. For the total interest is 89, and this is a calculation for utilize which is 80%. So the bank term 80%, which 400 we got 320. For the corporate bonds 80%, multiple which 300 million we got 240. For the institutional borrowing 80%, we multiple with 300 we got 240 million. So for the total capitalized for this is 800. So from the amount borrowing which 1,000 million, 80% we got for 100. For the balance is 20% we invested. So this is amount for the capitalized. This is amount for invested. So the total capitalized 80% is 800 million. So for the invested 20%, we got the investment income which is 10 million. So the capitalization rate is, for the first one is bank term loan. So the amount 400 based on this 400, 300 and 300. So 433 we divide with the total amount of borrowing which is 1,000 million. Multiple with 100, so we got a 40%, 30% and 30% for the bank term. For the corporate bonds 30%, for the institutional borrowing which is 30%. So this is interest rate, so which we multiple which interest rate we got the average interest rate. So 40% multiple which 8% we got 3.2%. For corporate bond 30% multiple which 10% we got 3%. And for the last institutional borrowing 30% we multiple with 9% we got 2.7. So from this rate we calculate all of this, we got 8.9. So this is the capitalization rate that we should put in this bank borrowing amount. So this is a rate for question 1. For the question 2 is the amount of interest that qualifies for capitalization. So interest that can be capitalized, which is 800 million. From this we got this total capitalized 800 million from this question. So we only capitalize at 100 million. So we put here. So we multiple with the rate 8.9%. We put here. So we got a 71 to 100 million. So this is the interest can be capitalized. But the question is that there is an invested amount. So when we got an invested amount, they got income. So the income we must minus. So interest can be capitalized minus with interest income investment, which is 10,000 million. So we got 61 to 100 million. So the total amount of interest for capitalization is 61 to 100 million. So for the next question is the amount of interest that we charge to expenses. So we put this to Sochi PNL. So how we get this is interest charge expenses, total interest that we calculate from the table, we minus with interest capitalized. So we got the interest charge to expenses. So this is total interest RM 89 million we got from here. As the amount borrowing we multiple with interest rate. So the total is 89 we put here. So we minus with interest capitalized, which is 61 to 100 million. So the balance for this is RM 800 billion. So this is interest that charged the expenses that we put in Sochi